Welcome to my Throwback Thursday review of Little Women from 2019. What is Throwback Thursdays? Is when I, a baby cinephile, review films that my subscribers vote on. They want me to watch for the first time ever. So in order for you to join the fun, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when my reviews and my community posts come up. Well, let's get into the review and start with the premise. In the years after the Civil War, Jo March lived in New York and became a writer, while her sister Amy studied painting in Paris. Amy has a chance encounter with Theodore, a childhood crush who proposed to Jo but was ultimately rejected. Their oldest sibling, Meg, is married to a school teacher, while shy sister Beth develops a devastating illness that brings the family back together. The first thing that comes to mind when I think about this film is all the technical aspects. The set designs, the costumes, the music, all draw you into the time period. The frumpy dresses, the dances, the way the houses and everything looks, and the way they speak, and the things that they talk about, and some of the little bit of history they drop here and there really draw you in and make you engaged and think that you're in the time period that was right after the Civil War. It's so well done that it almost made me feel like Bob Odenkirk wasn't out of place in this film. The real star of all this technical stuff that happens is the cinematography. It's used as a storytelling device, and even though I didn't understand what was going on with the colors at first, I thought it was just going to spring and fall and summer and all that, but this movie is across 6 years and it jumps between time periods, and they use the warmer, more fall-looking colors and cinematography to showcase the past when they're younger, they're more together, they're a happy family together and trying to come up out of the struggle. And then the 6 years later, the present time, it's more colder looking, it looks more wintry looking, and it's showcasing how they're starting to separate. They've lost some of their family members, and some of them are not getting used to the adulthood. I thought that was a brilliant storytelling device. But the performances in this film is really what brings this story to life. Saoirse Ronan plays Jo March, and she's fantastic. She's passionate, she's caring, she's very independent, but on the other hand, she's very hot-headed and has a hard head as well. Her journey throughout this movie is the main crux of the film. She is the main character out of all the characters here, even though it's almost like an ensemble piece. It follows her journey trying to become a writer when she starts when they're young in the past, giving her stories and not being named, because at that time it wasn't a good look for a woman trying to work on their own, to the point where she goes to New York, tries to learn writing from professionals and almost gives up because it's just not happening. And it really brought a tear to my eye when I realized at the end she finally found a way to get one of her stories that was inspired by Beth, who was so close and was like the glue of the family, always kept them together even though she was quiet and shy, that made her successful. And she becomes so successful, and so many positive things happen because of the book that finally hits. She's able to bring everyone's dreams come true, even though they all had to sacrifice it in order to help the family. Florence Pugh, one of my favorite actors doing it right now. She might be my favorite actor on the planet right now. She's fantastic at everything that I see her in, and she's fantastic in this as well as Amy March. Her and Jo are the exact opposites. While Saoirse Ronan character is driven, independent, wants her own money, wants to not even think about love, even though she's being chased by Timothée Chalamet's character, Amy she has those things in her, but she realizes that it's not the place of a woman in this time period, and it's not a way to be successful. She wants to paint, she wants to do that, but she knows that if she's not the most exceptional painter ever, she's not going to be able to make money off of it. So she sacrifices her passions and tries to marry rich and do all the things to push her in position so she can marry rich. And she comes off as superficial and only caring about herself, when deep down she's doing the things that she feels can help the family. And that was like a very big theme throughout the film, how each character in this part of the family or outside the part of the family was doing something just so they feel like they could help the family overall, especially the four girls. And with Jo and Amy, in button heads all the time, and it feels like Jo was always favored over Amy, it was really mixed feelings I had when in the future, or the present time I should say, Amy finally got the attention of Laurie, played by Timothée Chalamet, and they got married. And this was like right when Jo realized, damn, I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be this super independent person that doesn't have someone with me along the journey and wants to get with Laurie, but then realizes Amy got him first. It was so conflicted because at the same time, Amy was the one that was always in love with Laurie, always expressing her feelings, but he kept looking at Joe, who kept telling him no. So when Joe finally figured it out, I was like, oh, I want happiness first, but she's like a great character. But because, you know, she let him go, he found someone else. So it was really conflicting, and I really liked how all their personal journeys and things that were going on intertwined with each other. Laura Dern and Meryl Streep, you know, these are pros. They're top of the class when it comes to acting. They were fantastic as the mom and the aunt in this film. Dern specifically is one of the best wives and mothers I've seen on film. She made the wholesome scenes in this feel even better. There was so much like touching and hugging and kissing and love in the scenes that make you get really engaged with the family, and she's a big spearheading part of that. And Meryl Streep playing the aunt was the bitchy aunt that kept everyone on their toes and giving them a reality check, which I thought was great, because sometimes the movie felt a little bit fantastical with how, you know, happy and positive certain things were, but I feel like Meryl Streep was there for the audience to tell you, like, yeah, this is not going to go the way that you think it's going to go. Like, it's not going to be, everybody's not going to be these fantastic independent people, and I think that was really great to kind of ground the story just a bit. I think the story is inspiring, beautiful, and a big gut punch. They really showcased the struggles and trials and tribulations that women during this time period had to go through as really young girls up until they become young adults. And I really think that they showcased it in a way with this family that made me feel like this is one of my favorite families in film. I really love the wholesomeness. I love seeing them together and how they interact, how they play, how they argue and get angry, and how they support each other in their times of need, despite them being very different. What really works is the fact that every person in the family is very different, but the common thing that they have is that they all love each other and will help each other no matter what. And I think that was beautiful, because that's how most families are. So this made me feel like this is one of my favorite families I've seen on film. The beginning of the film is paced pretty slow. They're showcasing the time period and the things that are going on and making references to the time period after the Civil War. And it kind of waned on my attention span a little bit. I was kind of wondering what was the point and where was it going. I'm not super into this time period, so I really need the story to be super interesting. And at first it really wasn't, because it was jumping in between time periods pretty often, and I didn't really connect or understand what they were trying to give me or trying to tell me in the story at first. While I do think the non-linear storytelling that they chose to do here was impressive, I think that the fact that they have timestamps or clear indications of what time period we were in, especially towards the beginning, made it really confusing at what part of the story that we were supposed to be in, what was happening, what we were supposed to be understanding that's happening. And I think that was a detriment that made this movie kind of frustrating to watch. Not only were they focusing on some stuff that I didn't really care about in the beginning, and it was a slower paced film, they were also jumping around, and I didn't realize the colors that was going on was the time periods that we were supposed to be in. And what made it worse is that I feel like they didn't make enough of an effort to differentiate the younger characters versus when they get older. I don't think making Florence Pugh have pigtails and a bang was enough to make me feel like she was like a teenager at that point. I did not get that at all when watching it, and they didn't really do any of that type of stuff with the other characters as well. You know, Hermione, Emma Watson, she looked exactly the same throughout the whole film. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like they did try to do certain things to make you feel like with the clothes and things like that, but there's certain characters like her and Beth that looked exactly the same throughout the film, and I was just like, yeah, I really don't. It wasn't until later I was like, oh, okay. I was like maybe 45 minutes in the film, and I was like, oh, that is what's happening here. And I don't know if that is just me. Let me know in the comments below if you watched this movie and that's how you felt, but that's how I felt watching the film. I was very confused on certain aspects. This is a beautiful, timeless tale, mostly directed masterfully by Greta Gerwig and brought to life by an A-list cast. Not everybody in the cast did a outstanding job, but everyone did a decent job to a fantastic job. However, this is a frustrating first time watch because I did not understand that they were going to be jumping through time and what was signaling it, but I think that it will become a better rewatch now that I know what's going on. But with that said, I'm going to give Little Women from 2019 a B+. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What would you rate Little Women? Is this one of your favorite films? I know a lot of people, it was their favorite film in 2019. I really enjoyed it a lot, and I think I'm gonna rewatch this again another time because it's just a joyful, wholesome, comforting film. And yeah, drop all those comments down below. Let me know what you guys think about the film, what you think about the drama and the characters, and if there's any little things that I missed that I didn't talk about that you want to discuss. Like the video to get this video popping, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to be notified of my reviews, reactions, live discussions, and much more. And you can catch more of my content right now.